Greetings everybody! Welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. We have an exciting day today. We are going to tear into another bag and pull out another box and show you another smartwatch. Do you know how to say supersize? As in 16 gigabytes? Yes indeed, we have a new member of the elite club of smartwatches that are boasting 1 gigabyte of RAM, 16 gigabytes of ROM, and this one is Domino DM368. Now, we've seen this puppy before, and this is the Plus version. Supersized 3G smartwatch phone. Look at that price. Wow. Yeah, for under $100, you can get a full Android 5.1 watch with a gigabyte of RAM and 16 gigabytes of ROM. Yes, you can. What else do you get with it? You got the MTK6580 chip and all of the network stuff, including the 3G support, Bluetooth 4.0. No camera on this one, SIM card, those different media format. Continuing with the specs, you have all these languages supported and all these features, including heart rate and pedometer, and that's what you get with it, and there's the size. Okay, I think we should open the box and see what we've got. This is nice. Look at this. Nice, attractive box with a lid that opens and a true presentation style. Wow, nice. The watch itself is on a fun little cushion. Cool, huh? We can take that off. Oh, and we've got a cleaning cloth as well to polish it up. Of course, we want to take our little front protectors off. That's the clear plastic protector. And I think you can see that there's a little plastic protector also on here. As long as you don't have any bubbles in there and it doesn't slow you down on scrolling, you can go ahead and leave that, but oftentimes I pull it off. It's just annoying for me, but that's my own thing. We've got a nice TPU type band, somewhat stretchable, not too much. Two of the little hook things. We have one button on the side that kind of comes out, so it's easy to get to, and a matching protrusion on the other side. So you've got this kind of a balanced look to it. You have a bezel. Doesn't rotate. It's got markings on it. And if you can see are not really fine in here, there's in tiny white writing. There's the numbers around. And a speaker hiding under this little protrusion right there. So when you have it on your wrist, the speaker's going to be easy to hear and pointed toward, what do you know? Your ear. Great idea. On the bottom side, you got my sweat. I've just been outdoors. You have an easy to pop open compartment to put your SIM card in. If you have fingernails, no screws required to get into here, but maybe something a little longer than mine. A heart rate monitor and your charging dock. And what's in the box? Oh, I guess I accidentally touched it and turned it on. Wow. Oh, do you see the compass there? Oh my goodness. Oh, nice logo. Okay, it's totally washed out because it's in bright, but it says starting apps right there. And we'll let it start the apps while we explore what else is in the box. We have a little cardboard box that is including in it a USB charging connector. There you go. 4 pins and magnetic coupling. So we simply should, yep, nice and strong, and it holds really well. That's good. All right. Charging wire. And it looks like underneath here, we have a user's manual. We lift this open. Oh, and there's another sheet protector, screen protector, if you want to use it as well. Smartwatch, user's manual inside. Yeah, it's a big kind. English is on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes around this way. So let's take a look. Here's your user's manual for this watch. Okay. Now, if you recall, and I'll have a link in the show notes down below, and probably at the end of the video, back to our original review of this watch. This watch has been out for a while, and just like you've seen with some of the other watches on the market, they're using the same overall watch hardware configuration, maybe a little upgrade to the firmware, and sometimes a bump up in the software from Android 4.4 to 5.1. But nonetheless, the big difference making this a plus designation is the memory. You're getting 16 gigabytes of onboard memory, and that makes all the difference. All right, I'll make sure it's fully charged, and let's walk through this watch, see what it looks like. Okay, here we go. But before we start in on it, let's take a look at the original. This is the original Domino DM368, 512 megabytes with 8 gigabytes of memory. Also from Gearbest. I did mention, right, that this is coming to us from Gearbest. And to be sure to check the show notes for that price or better. And if you order from the link in the show notes, it helps us at this channel, and it supports Gearbest in sending us more watches. So please take care of that. If you like this watch and want one, try that source first. And this one's been discontinued. This is the one in the red band. I'm not sure if you can get the plus in the red band or not, but this is what we got originally, and this is the new one. So let's turn it on, and I'm going to run through the watch faces. We'll do that fairly quickly. Go back to the very beginning. These are the stock installed watch faces that come with this watch. Now, I'm hearing from a lot of folks that my reviews tend to be, long? Is that a good word for it? And I try to talk as fast and as much as I can to cram it all in. So we're going to try a little experiment on this one, since you've seen it all before. And if you want really, really excruciating detail on every app and what everything does, you can go and watch that review on the original DM368, which was also from Gearbest. But if you want to just whiz right through this thing at double speed, I'm going to do that for you. We're going to take wow, that's a different one. I haven't seen that watch face before. We're going to do a quick look at the apps, but not as much detail as we normally would go into on a brand new watch. And then pretty much skip all the techie stuff. The techie stuff is out there if you want to review it and learn about it. But all these guys that are 16 gigabyte watches are starting to have pretty much the same AnTuTu scores and components inside. So it's kind of senseless to go through every single time and give you the same 15,200-ish AnTuTu score, which is what I would anticipate we would get with this watch, and so on. Cellular radio, it works. Wi-Fi, it works. GPS and mapping, yeah, it works. It works really good if you're outside. And if you're inside, it sometimes doesn't work at all. And that's typical of all of these because the bands have the antennas. And oh yeah, for those of you who are asking and don't know already, the bands are not removable on this watch, just like they weren't on the original and just like they're not on practically every other Android watch. So we have a lot of these watch faces in here now that are basically a picture with time, digital time on them. And then we have this fancy area. Now, that's new. You see that right up there. Talk about that in a second. The plus, as you know, when you touch it, if you're on the internet, and I'm not, I just took it out of the box. If you're on Wi-Fi and you touch that plus, it'll bring in a bunch of new watch faces that you can download directly into your overall watch. This little round thing helps us out with the problem we had before, that sometimes installing or uninstalling watch faces could cause the watch to freeze up or go black. And this thing, when you tap it, immediately wipes out and reanalyzes all of the installed watch faces in the order that you've put them in, and it brings them back into the watch for you. And you don't have to worry about things being corrupted and having to end up learning how to flash your watch, for example. Not a good thing. So kudos to the guys at the Pro Boards that have worked together with the master vendors behind the firmware implementation across the board, whether it's Kingware or Domino or IQI or whoever, that work really hard to get that feature so that it saves our little hiney from having problems. Just wanted to give those guys a shout out, particularly Pablo 11. If you guys aren't on the pro boards, jump over there. It's a great resource. Enough said. Let's move on. Wow! Very first app is something new. Quick SOS. Alrighty, we have a new feature in here. You add a phone number, and then the SOS is going to let you send a quick SOS to somebody. Okay, I just took a moment to see how that would work, and I have no idea. When you slide down, you get this face, which shows you if you've got your SIM card in or you're tethered to your phone and what your power level is. You got this face where you can have vibration or silence or sound. You flip your wrist to see the time, airplane mode, all those look the same. Wi-Fi if we want, turn that on. Or your step count. I mean, this is all, we've seen this all before. And you've got your weather information at the bottom. And from here you got notifications, apps, and music player. When you press and hold the button, you get this typical thing where you can make your third-party apps in a square or a circle. You can turn the power off, reboot it, go into power saving mode, or eliminate any recent tasks that you've had open. But press and hold does that. Double tapping doesn't do it. Triple tapping, I have no idea. That gives you your watch faces. No idea how you use the quick SOS, and I don't see it in the manual. If anybody figures it out, leave it in the comments, okay? And I'll paste it right into the show notes for everybody to see. But we apparently have a quick SOS feature. You have contacts and phone and messaging, typical, but you need a SIM card in the phone, in the watch to work. It's not going to do that with tethering. It's a standalone device. You have your overall settings, remote capture. So if you are tethered to a phone, you can take a picture using your phone with this as a hot button. A basic browser, your calendar, your clock, the gallery to look at the pictures that you take, or whatever you put in here if you want pictures on your watch. And you got 16 gigabytes, so plenty of space, a music player and a remote music player. So you can either play the music that you put in here or control it through your phone using the tethering app. A basic sound recorder. And usually I go in here and I make a little recording and we play it back and we study how well it sounds. It works. If you need that kind of stuff, sorry. File manager. This one I want to show you because here is where we have the memory. You see how it has 12.32 gigabytes of available space. That's what you get when you subtract out the operating system, firmware, and ancillary files that might be in there from a total of 16 gigabytes. And then when you get in here, you notice you already have a clock skin folder that you can load up watch faces. How do you do all that? There's other videos on that, lots of them out here. It just shows you that this is the new format, the new firmware, that in addition having that little circle that you saw on the screen with the plus, it also has the clock skin folder already built in. So you just drop in the watch faces you want into the clock skin folder in the proper format and they'll work perfectly. And on and on and on. So yeah, you have your file manager. You have a whole lot of extra space in here. A Find Me feature, again for tethering, that you press that and your phone will ring so you can locate your phone. Health section, we'll come back in a second. Weather, just the overall weather icon. By the way, we are still, as far as I know, stuck with the weather. And that's going to try to connect, but it won't. The weather being in centigrade. They have not adjusted this at all to be converted to Fahrenheit. Voice search is where you do your basic Google voice searching, and you don't even need to be on a Google account for it to work, which is nice. You have it available to you. The Google Play Store, which you do have to have an account set up and logged into in order to download third-party apps, and then Maps, the Google Maps, which when you're on GPS and everything is set up and you're on a Wi-Fi, will let you see your location on the maps. Now, we mentioned health. Let's go back in here where you have the pedometer. which is just like you saw when we scrolled across, that you can count your steps, but you can do some setup down in here and do it against time. So you can actually track steps against time if you want to go for 10 minutes or something, an hour, whatever. It's pretty lame though. You don't really have alarms that you can set when you've hit a certain number of steps or a certain time, but you can collect that data from here. Then there's the heart rate monitor that turns on the one diode in the back. I'm going to try it with my finger. And in consideration for how accurate are the heart rate monitors in these devices, we've got another video talking about that up there as well. And this one looks typical to some of the implementations we've seen recently in the watches with this divided up little heart that's rotating around. You can set it up so you can do real-time tracking of your heart rate like you see here, or a one-time test. I strongly recommend you let it run for a while because the first value is never really accurate. It takes a while to settle down to be right near what your true heart rate is. So give it a little while and then accept that number, even though that might be the one that's recorded. Okay, the heart rate thing is doing its thing, and when I let go, you see it stopped. So that's good. It's good to know that it's actually looking for getting the correct connection in order to make the right reading. So we have a more advanced heart rate monitor, in other words, in this watch, which is good news. And that, folks, is a collection of apps that are in the Domino DM368 Plus smartwatch. 4 screws take it off. SIM card goes in there. You don't need to take the back off in order to get into the nano SIM compartment, and you got yourself a cool little watch. Once again, everybody, this is available to you from Gearbest for under $100 right now, flash sale. I probably won't have a coupon to beat that. It's possible I might. If you don't make it by the end of the flash sale, definitely check below, and I'll have a coupon for you to pick this up at that price or as good a price as we can get from Gearbest. And thanks for watching. A brand new entry to the 16 gigabyte class of smartwatches. Nice.